made a conference championship game. The Vikings, since the Cowboys last made a conference championship game, have made 4 of them. Everyone else is going to the Super Bowl except for the 2 sad sack franchises, Detroit and Washington. It's kind of outrageous. And so that's where they need to get to. They had a golden opportunity Dak's rookie year. They had a decent opportunity Dak's 3rd year, and they have not been able to close that deal. They need to make a conference championship game, at least, in my opinion, for this year to be considered a success, especially with all that talent on offense.
Kind of a high bar. We'll see. Let's head to Indianapolis, talk some Carson Wentz. He's back at practice after foot surgery less than a month ago. His coach, Wright, said the feedback from Wentz's foot all positive after these last 3 days back on the field. Nick, what's the Colts ceiling if Carson Wentz is actually healthy?
Yeah, the same as it was last year. You know, sneak into the playoffs and have a very short life in the playoffs. I understand why there is respect for what Chris Ballard and Frank Reich are building and have built in Indy. I do not understand at all why there has been like under the radar Super Bowl buzz surrounding this team. They are clearly not the best team in their own division. That'll be Tennessee. They are clearly not on the level of the Chiefs or the Ravens. And so now what are we talking about? Like, could they be in the mix along with Miami, the Chargers, who am I leaving out here? The Steelers as like those 3rd tier AFC. Could you get the extra wild card? Yeah. That's to me the ceiling, and that's if Wentz isn't one of the 3 worst quarterbacks in football this year like he was last year. But I don't think this is a Super Bowl or even AFC championship contending club with or without a healthy Carson Wentz, Brandon.
Nick, I have to disagree with you. If Carson Wentz can stay healthy, I think they can possibly, the ceiling is AFC championship. You know, with the Colts went 11-5. The Colts went 11-5 with Phillip Rivers last year. And the biggest thing about Carson Wentz was his Achilles heel in Philly was that he had no protection. I know Eric Fisher is out. His left tackle is going to be missing for the first portion of the season. But if you keep Carson Wentz upright, he can throw the ball. And another thing about quarterbacks and players in the NFL is all about confidence. In Philly, they killed his confidence just because of his injuries. He couldn't stay healthy. His receivers was always out. Now he's come to some stability. A team that has a backbone, has an identity, a coach that drafted him, know what throws he likes and what situations he likes to make these throws in. So I think he's going to be very comfortable in Indy. They have a good defense, have a balanced attack on offense. So if they can get everything going early, I think they can make a run in the AFC.
And by the way, your opinion is the far more mainstream one than mine. I'm going to call a bit of an audible. I need some help on something from my buddy Kevin Wildes, because Wildes has been involved in television far longer than me. He's made shows. He knows, you know, what the hot button topics are. So you have your finger on the pulse of America. You always have. Why is Carson Wentz like a 1B storyline player? What is the fascination with this guy? I get why Dak is, Brady, obviously, Mahomes, Rodgers. And it's like, once you're done with those guys, it's like, hey, is there Carson Wentz news? People like, he was good 4 years ago.
Great question.
For a team that, by the way, Philly's a big market, but it's not like they're the Cowboys, the Patriots. Like, why is it, in your opinion, that America, A, has this odd amount of faith in Carson Wentz? They didn't fall in love with him at college. He played at North Dakota State. You know how much I care about that high school pedigree, by the way. Like, what is it? Tell me what I'm missing on the Carson Wentz simmering stove.
Oh, because we are entering Act 3 of the hero's journey with Carson Wentz. We saw the rise from humble beginnings, up, and he gets better and better, and then we saw the crash. And there's nothing more than we like doing than seeing the rise again. It's why Tebow was always interesting. Up, great, crash, back up, crash, and then, oh, are we going to get back? Oh, that, guess what Tebow's going to do? Maybe a little, you know, cage fighting or something. We'll be back in on it. Maybe Tebow can fight Jake Paul. Oh, we're back in. We always love the roller coaster of the narrative, and that's where we are with Carson. People want to see Carson come back. Feels like a deal. We also, I think we got a little Peyton Manning longing to watch the Colts be good. We felt like the Colts got kind of screwed over with Andrew Luck retiring. So I think people want to see the horseshoe kind of succeed. That's my general take.
I buy that. All right, you taught me something.
The
Good
peaks and valleys.
Good job,
Carson Wentz. Head out west talks to Matt Stafford. In a recently released article, Stafford talked about his mentality with his new team. He said this. Said, I just want to play in big games, you know. I want to have opportunities to make big-time plays in the fourth quarter against really good teams in big moments, rather than a 1 o'clock game on a Sunday somewhere. Rare. Take that, Lions. Nick, what are your expectations for Stafford's first seasons with the Rams? Well, that's where the Lions were stuck, mired in Sunday 1 p.m. for the last couple of years.
Yeah, she's right. And you know, one of the reasons they were stuck in that, because the quarterback needed to play better. I am very close to doing. I don't want to say a heel turn on Matt Stafford, but this is another one that just puzzles me. Matt Stafford's good. He's a good player. He also has been, you know, a losing quarterback for the entirety of his career. Oh, Nick, it's not his fault. Okay, but how much is his fault? They were 5-11 last year. By the way, this year, and I know there's the extra game, guess what Vegas says they're going to do? They lost Matt Stafford. They had to bring in Jared Goff. Yuck. You won 5 games last year. What are you going to win this year? Vegas says 5 games. So there's an extra game, so I do the math. They're 0.2 worse. Like, what? Matt Stafford's been in the league for over a decade. He's made the Pro Bowl once. And these days, not that hard to make the Pro Bowl, especially in quarterback position where guys opt out. So I think that he's better than Goff. I think the Rams, because of the talent, particularly on defense, are going to be a good team, potentially a very good team. But this idea that, what was Matt Stafford supposed to do? I don't know. Win a playoff game with Calvin Johnson? Possibly, maybe. I don't know. What was Matt Stafford supposed to do? I don't know. Be 500. Like, I don't know. So I think this is all coming from Brandon. They did that quarterbacks list, top 10 quarterbacks in football, and it was Matt Stafford number 6. Like, number 6? He's the 6th best quarterback in the league. Okay. Like, that's fascinating. So I think the hype is maybe, exceeded the production at this point.
Nick, I understand what you're saying with those takes right there, but I understand what people are feeling out of Rams camp with Matt Stafford. He's a great quarterback. He's teamed up with one of the best offensive minds in the league. And all they were missing in Los Angeles with the Rams is a guy that can make the long throws, the guys that can hit guys before they come out of break. And Matt Stafford can do that. No, he wasn't successful in Detroit. But we all know, yes, Calvin Johnson made the Hall of Fame, but Detroit as a team, it was just a dark cloud on that team. Barry Sanders made the Hall of Fame from Detroit. But we never seen those great players get out of Detroit and see what they can do in another uniform. What it would have took their career to another level. With Matt Stafford being a quarterback, oh man, we can't wait to see if his arm talent matches up with what the Rams need from him as an offense. If he can make all the throws that they're counting on him to make, this team can be deadly on the offensive side of the ball.
See, I view Matt Stafford as a little bit of a parallel to like Kevin Garnett. Like, go on to a winning team, you can eventually win a championship, but nobody sort of like blamed him for trials in Minnesota. And Nick, but what you're saying is fair. So I'm going to offer you another take. You're right there on the verge of this take, and no one's got it. And I know you like to be on take corners that you can kind of get in and own.
Yeah.
What do you think about
this play here?
Barry Sanders?
This is a sweet interception in
Barry
practice.
Sanders, run a little bit better. Barry Sanders doesn't get any slack.
No.
Yeah, Barry Sanders, run a little better. Matthew Stafford. Yeah, Barry Sanders.
See, that's what everybody says. Everybody does that. They're like, oh, the Lions. Sanders could win there. Calvin Johnson could win there. Listen, here's the thing about great quarterbacks. They're not consistently under 500. I don't care how bad the team is. If you're a great quarterback, now you might not be able to win a Super Bowl. You might have, the institutional support might be so bad that you have a very clear ceiling. But you are not. I read this whole long profile that this quote comes from, and buried in it is like Matt Stafford, who if he retired today would get some consideration for the Hall of Fame. Are you out of your mind? The Hall of Fame? Listen, he throws a very pretty ball that